built into a BMW X3. The most remarkable is BMW performance. It gives you the control and agility to survive accidents by avoiding them. Beyond passive safety is active safety. Lease a BMW X3 for $419 a month through January 3rd.
This is life. This is Life and Drive.
Now lease the all-new Ford Fusion for just $219 a month for 36 months. Fusion for a life and drive.
News Channel 5 at 11 is brought to you by Charter One Bank.
Live from News Channel 5. This is WEWS, News Channel 5 at 11.
Breaking news in Geauga County tonight. People have to run for their lives when a building collapses at a local ski resort. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Tracy Carlos. A day of skiing turns dangerous in Chester Township for people at Alpine Valley. My co-anchor, 5 on your side anchor, Curtis Jackson, is in Geauga County tonight. Let's get right to him for the details. Curtis?
I don't think necessarily roads are going to be impassable. I don't think it's going to be too bad. The primary arteries should be fine. It's those secondary streets and the country roads that you're going to have to deal with some slick spots. We do have some delays already to report farther to the south of the Cleveland area, most of them down in Tuscarawas County as they continue down there. But you can see then across northern Ohio we continue to have lake effect snow bands. So far there is one predominant snow band which is right over lake effect territory. But as we go through the overnight hours, that is going to start to shift to the west, and that's why the western suburbs of Cleveland and out on that western extension of the primary snow belt, they could also get a couple inches of snow. But for tonight, lake snow advisory continues. Cuyahoga, Lake Geauga, and Ashtabula counties will give you updated forecasts for how much snow is on the way coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Betsy, thanks. Now we have a developing story to tell you about out of Chesterland.
There has been a building collapse at a ski resort. The Alpine Valley Resort is located on Mayfield Road. Authorities say it was a rental barn where people go to get their skis and boots.
Several rescue crews are on the scene, but at this point they don't believe there are any injuries. We've got a crew on the way and we'll bring you more information as it becomes available.
Now back to our top story. Shots fired by police on East 141st Street result in the death of an 18-year-old Cleveland man. And his 20-year-old brother is in jail after police say they tried to run over 2 policemen in a stolen car. Channel 3's Vic Gideon picks up the story.
And he was pointed here, poised, and said, "Get your hands up."
Neighbors talk about the events of Sunday afternoon when about 1:30 shots rang out.
I heard the gunshots upstairs, and then I heard my auntie saying, "Call the ambulance."
I heard the pop, pop, pop. I came from my kitchen through the house. On the way, I heard this impact.
The impact was a stolen Taurus taken during a robbery and carjacking on Thursday afternoon, crashing through a guardrail, coming to rest in the front yard of a home on Ida Rose. Police had spotted the car and followed it until they say it pulled into a driveway on East 141st Street.
As the officers approached with guns drawn, the driver of the vehicle put the vehicle into reverse, backed up at a high rate of speed, striking both the officers who were on foot.
The vehicle came at the officers in reverse, striking both officers, and the officers fired their weapons.
Police say 3 or 4 shots were fired as the car fled, killing the driver, 18-year-old Angelo Cortez Ferguson. The passenger, his brother, 20-year-old Dante Ferguson, was arrested at the crash site. Family members went to the scene trying to find out exactly what happened.
The police are saying something a little bit different, but I don't want to prejudge anybody at this point.
Neighbors are giving differing accounts of the incident, but the end result is still a neighborhood mourning the loss of another young life.
It's just unfortunate that we lost another young black male.
Well, police say the dead man did have a loaded handgun in his waistband. Both officers have been treated and released and will be placed on administrative leave until the investigation into the shooting is complete. Lydia, back to you.
Vic Gideon reporting. Thank you.
Authorities say a standoff has finally ended in Euclid. This afternoon, the SWAT team was called to the scene after reports of a man barricading himself inside a house with a 5-year-old child inside. That standoff ended peacefully around 9:30. The man was taken into police custody.
Parts of I-77 were shut down today after a car pileup. The highway was shut down between Grant Avenue and the 480 entrance, but has since reopened. Police say 10 vehicles were involved and 13 people were taken to the hospital. We're not sure of their names or their conditions. Police believe icy roads were to blame.
After 2 years of searching, a New Hampshire mother was finally able to give her children a proper burial. This afternoon, in a private funeral, 14-year-old Sarah Gehring and her 11-year-old brother Philip were laid to rest. The children were killed by their father in July of 2003. He then admitted that he buried them along Interstate 80 before he killed himself in prison. The bodies were discovered last week in Hudson by a woman who was walking her dog.
It was moving. It was completely moving. I don't think there was one person that wasn't crying by the end.
Their mother, Terry Knight, says in a prepared statement that there really isn't closure when dealing with the senseless murder of children, but she says bringing their bodies home allows the family a more acceptable ending to this part of their journey.
Tomorrow marks the 20th anniversary of one of the worst military plane crashes in history. 248 servicemen died when their plane crashed in Gander, Newfoundland. The 101st Airborne Division was flying home for Christmas after finishing a peacekeeping mission. Darren Patrick Brady from Brunswick was on board the flight. His sister has been fighting to keep his memory alive and searching for the cause of the crash.
There's just so many families that want answers, and I think we deserve them, you know. We really deserve them.
Investigators say ice on the wings caused the plane to crash, but some say there is evidence and eyewitness accounts that point to a government cover-up.
Police in England say there's nothing to suggest today's explosions at a major fuel depot were anything other than an accident. The explosions north of London injured dozens of people, leaving at least 2 hospitalized. Most of the injuries came from flying glass. North of London, people were told.
Ferguson is in police custody. Both officers are on administrative leave, which is standard procedure in fatal police shootings. This year, the Cleveland Police Department has had 5 officer-involved shootings. 4 of them have been fatal. Tonight, a New Hampshire mother is thanking all of the people who helped find the remains of her 2 children. Earlier today, Terry Knight and her family said goodbye to her children, Sarah and Philip Gehring. A Hudson woman found the bodies of the children in a wooded area in Summit County. A family spokesperson says the family can now finally move on.
They are home now, and our family can start the next chapter, living our lives, moving forward, and bringing along all that Sarah and Philip meant to us.
The children's father admitted to police that he killed them, but only told investigators that he buried the children somewhere along 700 miles of Interstate 80. He killed himself in jail before the bodies were found. Funeral services are planned later this week for 3 Medina High School graduates. They died this weekend when the car they were riding in slammed into a tree in Medina Township. Tonight, officers don't know what caused the driver to lose control, but they are looking into whether alcohol or drugs may have played a part in that one-car crash. The Case Western Reserve University shooting trial continues in the morning. Prosecutors are in the process of calling more than 100 witnesses to the stand. Biswaneth Halder is charged with aggravated murder and terrorism. He's accused of going on a shooting rampage at Case that killed 1 student and injured 2 others back in 2003. A ruling is expected this week in the Cage Kids custody hearing. Testimony wrapped up yesterday. The judge will now decide whether Michael and Sharon Gravel should regain custody of their 11 adopted children. They were placed in foster homes after police discovered 8 of the kids were sleeping in makeshift enclosures. Now, prosecutors call them cages. The Gravels say the enclosures were used for the children's safety, some of whom have some special needs. Tonight, an Akron woman is charged with an unusual bank robbery. Police say the suspect told bank tellers she was an identity theft victim, and maybe this will get the FBI's attention. She then handed tellers a note that read, "Show me the money." Police say Kathy Helfrich got away with the cash, then drove to the police station and basically just turned herself in. The trial of former Maple Heights councilman accused of killing his wife is expected to continue tomorrow. In May, James Benson pleaded not guilty in the shooting death of 44-year-old Kimberly Benson. He turned himself into police, but authorities say that is not an admission of guilt. It is certainly not beach weather, but tonight some Avon Lake residents are very concerned about a small beach that they've used for years. It's called Sunset Beach, and it may go up for sale. That's because the landowner failed to pay taxes. Now, a state lawmaker, Representative Earl Martin, is looking to buy that land. If he does, nearby homeowners fear they will lose property value. That's because their deeds show they have rights to use that beach.
Like rushing around is like a habit. I'm in a rush even when I'm not in a rush.
Not enough time in the day. How many times do you say that?